Let's play some hockey tonight.
Energetic, passionate, and savvy. Gooch Live. Brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gooch.
Yes, it is. It is Kerry Goulet, better known as the Gooch, and it is Talking with Taylor. You know what that means? It means that Talking with Taylor with Scott Taylor. He's going to be up here in just a second. Just want to say hello to everybody and listen. Paul Rosen, don't forget, third edition, right after this, the Rosen Report with Jamie McGuire. I think they're going to talk about that guy named Hutchinson and how good he's been with the Leafs. Thank God they got him as a backup. But first, before we get to the Rosen Report, obviously I'm going to have an opportunity to speak to one of my favorites, Scott Taylor, about the Winnipeg Jets and how they look, and a couple of things that are going on. As you know, there's an outdoor game going on. Yes, there is. And yesterday I had the opportunity to talk to a guy named Cameron Hughes. And who's Cameron Hughes, you ask? Look at my shirt. Look disheveled here. Haircut tomorrow, guys, 12:30. Yep, getting her done. Gonna look good. Gonna look exactly like Scott Taylor, but with not quite as white hair. With hair. I forgot that. Hey, listen, seriously, Cameron Hughes was absolutely fantastic yesterday. He is a professional fan, and I think I've got it in me. I can wave the towel like everybody else can. He's a professional sports guy. He's a fan. And he's got a job. I don't even have a job, for God's sake. Got to fix up my shirt. All right, listen. Let's talk to Scott Taylor. Scotty, what's going on?
You could be a fan full time.
Look what's going on with my shirt.
Yeah, you got to go golf shirt like me.
Yeah,
got to be ready to go out and hit wedges, baby.
Trying to look like a corporate dude. All right, there we go. We look good. Hey, haircut tomorrow.
I'm excited.
You know it's a slow day in sport when I'm talking about my haircut.
You know it's a slow day in sports. Hey, listen, what's going on behind you there? What's going on?
Well, it's an outdoor game.
Yeah, but not in that weather.
No. Actually, this September, the Ice Hockey Classic was going to be played right there.
And where's that?
Queenstown, New Zealand. Those are the mountain range is called the Remarkables. And, we had a little game out in Wellington and we had a little bit of an issue. So I got back on the horse and said, I am going to host an outdoor game in New Zealand. So I've made arrangements for it in Australia, in New Zealand, in Queenstown. All the plans weren't finished. As we were getting ready to do it, we were talking to go right here. And then there's a parking lot not down the street owned by a farmer. So we're negotiating. And it's fantastic. Everything was going great. Had hotels ready. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. And then that COVID thing hit. And it just changed everybody's plan. Because in 2020, we were supposed to be doing the promotional tour. We were going to Queenstown and playing at the Queenstown Arena there. Paul's been there. Phenomenal place. Small little rink. Holds about 700. We did the Ice Hockey Classic there. Scott, amazing. The crowd was stupidly crazy. So Queenstown is, if you don't know it, is the extreme sport capital of the South Pacific. It's got everything. It's got, I would say, it's probably Whistler, Vail, Colorado. I can't remember all the Lake Louise, Banff, Jasper, all of those all put into one city, and everybody around the South Pacific's there. So if I pull it off, it's next year. And Scott Taylor, you got to take the wife and take a couple of weeks off and come down with us. What do you think?
Oh, I'll do it. I'd love to go to New Zealand. I've been to Australia and loved it. I have never been to New Zealand. So yeah, I'm in. Count me in. Put me on the cargo list.
You're on the VIP. You're on the VIP list. Hey, listen. Let's talk about what's going on around the NHL. Of course, Lake Tahoe. What a great setting! Like, it looks fantastic. The only thing that I've noticed in the first period, a lot of issues with ice. And I would think that trust me, we've been there. We've had issues with ice, but it just seems that it's always difficult when you're outdoors. But I'll tell you what, it's picturesque. Compliment to the NHL. Obviously, there are no fans. But your thoughts on these outdoor games? I saw somebody make a comment yesterday. The stadium games are done. We're only going to do them at these type of venues. Well, guys, you got to forget, there are no stands. They're going to have to bring in 20 to 30,000 portable stands to do it. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case. But at this particular moment in the NHL history, it's the perfect time, perfect setting. And I'll tell you what, the two teams, Vegas and Colorado, we both have said they both have the, I think it's called, what is it called? The Manitoba or the Winnipeg?
Manitoba Golden Knights.
Yeah, they look very strong, and they look like a team that could go to the finals, and so could Colorado.
Colorado's an extremely good hockey team. Outstanding hockey
All right, I want to hear you.
Sorry, the Leafs?
Tell me about it. What do you think?
I think it's tremendous, and I'm different than all those other people. The point of the outdoor games is you have 2 or 3 a year tops, right? You're not going to have 15 a year. You're going to have a couple every year, and they're not going to be in the same place all the time. Yeah. So we had our game in Winnipeg a few years ago, and it was spectacular. It was a great way to spend the afternoon with friends, 40,000 people. It was a tremendous day. Well, you're not going to do that every year. We're not going to come back and do it tomorrow. So in 10 years' time, we'll maybe do it again. But I think the outdoor games are always fun. They're always terrific. Yeah, I worry about the ice too, especially with multi-million-dollar hockey players. But I'm not the general manager. If they're cool with putting those guys out there, well, it's entirely up to them. But I like the games. I think they're fun. I love the way they look on TV. I like the special uniforms they wear for the games. I like watching guys. I like watching guys wear their toques in the warm up. I'm a big fan of the outdoor games and always will be, and only because there aren't 20 a year. There are 2 or 3, and they're in different places, and it's fun. The one in Chicago was great. It's just, I don't know why people don't like stuff that's different. And I don't know why people want to go to the same rink all the time and do the same thing every day. I get really tired of the same thing over and over again. And that's why I think these outdoor games are fun. Really good fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you remember the first one in Edmonton, minus 40 degrees. I was in Germany watching it, and they were all wearing toques over top of their helmets and inside. And you could just icicles. But what's amazing is, if you don't already know it, there was the World Guinness Book of Records broken last week in Edmonton. 11-day game. I've talked about it a couple of times.
How many goals were scored?
It was like 2,518 to 2,317. Do you imagine how many points I would have gotten that game? It would have been silly. Like, seriously. I would have had, 1,100 goals or something like that.
Oh, you puck hog? Is that what you were?
Yeah, absolutely. You were out there? No, but you know what's even worse about that? It was minus 40. It was minus 40 points. And these guys were in sleeping bags, sleeping in the, like, how cool is that?
No, how cold is that?
Oh, that too. Okay. I was saying cool, like how cool. Kewl, not. All right, listen, around the league, what's going on in Calgary? Like, he's storming. Like, he's got smoke coming from his ears. He expected a lot better performance from his big gunners, and he's not seeing it.
I am a guy who very much enjoys betting on Bet365, the goal scorers every night. And I have had Johnny Gaudreau far too many times. He should be scoring a lot more goals. I mean, he should be as big a goal scorer as Mason Appleton, and he isn't these days. He just isn't scoring. And if you don't get production in the National Hockey League out of your big guns, heck, if you don't get production in the second division in Germany out of your big guns, your goal scorers have to score. Your goals, but your goal scorers have to score. You know this better than anybody. You pay money, big money, to guys who can score goals, and if they're not scoring goals, and you know how Europe works, if you're brought over there as a goal scorer and you get 2 in the first 10, you're on the next plane out. They'll find somebody who can score goals. And Calgary is stuck with these big contracts for Monahan and Gaudreau and all these guys who aren't scoring goals. If they don't start scoring, it's not the goaltender's fault. It's not defense's fault. They just aren't scoring, and until they start to score. Now, is that the problem with the coaching? Maybe. Is that the problem?
Do you like him? Do you like it? Like, I've listened to his press conference. Holy crap, he sounds like he's putting me to sleep.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that going on. There's far too many guys in the league that aren't very enthusiastic about what they do. I think that exists throughout the league. But if the goal scorers in Calgary don't score, you don't win. Look at Edmonton. Look at Winnipeg. They're doing okay because the goal scorers score. Why is Toronto winning? Because Austin Matthews might be the player of the year. I mean, the reality is the guys who score, Mark Stone in Vegas, McKinnon in Colorado, Crosby's line. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be Gaudreau who scores, but he's got to create plays. Connor McDavid hasn't had any goals in the last few games, but he's set up so many opportunities for other people to score that Edmonton is scoring goals and winning games. So your big guys have to produce, and if they're not producing, you got to make changes. And I understand why Treliving is talking that way.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Toronto, Montreal tonight. I know you love those two teams. Do you think the intensity? I was listening down a little bit about. It was in the States. They were having a broadcast, and they were saying, "Oh, you know what? The Northern Division. You know, you got to score 6 goals to win a game." He's probably right.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Do you think that Canada's North Division is supplying the entertainment, or are the United States teams looking up and saying, "Oh my God, when they come down here, we're going to slaughter them. They're not going to have an opportunity to score 7 goals because we're gonna check them into the ground."
What a load of baloney that is. The best hockey being played right now is being played in the North. There isn't even any question about it. And last night, the Jets win 2-0. That wasn't a 7-6 game. That was a tremendous hockey game with 2 good goaltending performances. Yeah. 2 really solid goaltending performances. It was great hockey. One of the biggest problems that we suffer from in the North and in the Western Division, because there's not a lot of people down there talking about the Western Division, is the games are on at 10 o'clock at night in the East.
Sure.
So nobody's getting to watch Winnipeg, Vancouver. They're not getting to watch Calgary, Edmonton like last night, which was a tremendous game. People aren't staying up for it. So that's why Toronto, Montreal tonight is so huge, because people in the one city that exists in Canada, because there is only one city in Canada. You know, there was a report done this week that people in Toronto were told that there are actually cities outside of Toronto, and nobody in Toronto could believe it. Like, they didn't even believe it was true. They didn't believe it was true.
I'm living in one of them. It's called Richmond Hill.
Yeah, there you go. It's a city outside Toronto. So the reality is the people in Toronto tonight get an opportunity to see probably the 2 best teams in the North, Montreal and Toronto. Question. They get to see the stars. They get to see the biggest game there is every week, Toronto, Montreal. I can't wait for Montreal to come to Winnipeg. I can't wait for the Leafs to come to Winnipeg. For guys my age, and I'm talking old, I went from when I first played hockey at 5 until I was 16 years old with 6 teams. Yeah. There was only Toronto and Montreal on my TV. So I grew up in that world. And for me today, they're still the teams. And I think everybody is excited about tonight's game and would like to see a 7-6 game and maybe Matthews score the winner in overtime. Nobody wants to watch a 2-1 hockey game. I don't care what those donkeys are saying in the United States. 2-1 hockey isn't any fun. What's really fun is 7-6 fire wagon hockey.
Hey, Scotty.
Remember when Keon and Mahovlich would be going up the wing with Dickie Duff and Ronnie Ellis against Richard and LaPerriere and Bobby Russo and Bernie Jeffrion. Those were the days of fire wagon hockey. And that's what I want to happen tonight. I want it to be a 7-6 game.
Scotty, it's time for some caffeine, kid. Seriously.
Okay.
You get too excited.
I haven't had enough today. I've only had 2.
I'm just doing a little thing. You just mentioned a couple of things, so I'm going to find something for you before we get off this one. Hey, listen, Robert Wine has joined us. He was going to miss all of Paul's show right after us, called The Rosen Report. He's really upset, but he says he's got a head on his shoulders, and he's figured it out. He's portable, he's tech, and we're really excited to having you. And along the other side here, let's just do some things. Clean up some work here. Val coming in super excited. Val's also hitching his wagon and coming over to Queenstown, Colorado. What about those jerseys? Like, seriously, those jerseys with the Nordique emblem on the front. I don't know if you witnessed Dallas's or Carolina's. Oh, my God. Somebody was not looking when they sewed those jerseys together.
No, I like that stuff. As I've told you before, the best jerseys we ever saw were when Winnipeg played Edmonton in the Heritage Classic game here in Winnipeg. because the Jets went back to a classier version, a sharper version of the uniforms they wore in the 80s and 90s. And Edmonton did the same thing. Today, your colors are brighter. The logos are sharper. The things shine a little bit. It's really nice to watch look at those old jerseys then as they look now with the technology that we have in terms of jersey production. So, yeah, I love those. I love them.
Hey, listen, how great technology is. Sam Trapolino tuning in from the Ice Arena in Adelaide. Young Marnie's going out to play. It's a big, big game. And here he is watching from the stands in the rink. And looking behind me, Sammy, we're going to be there next year. I can see it September 2020, their winter, maybe June, July, we'll be there watching a hockey game. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, you said it was a 2-0 game. Vancouver has been struggling, but it seems like they're picking, even though they didn't score last night, that was a very, very entertaining game, and both goaltenders played very well. Talk to us about that.
I was overwhelmed by the play of Laurent Brossoit last night, the Jets' backup goaltender. And somebody said something to me that I thought was really interesting. Vancouver is only a couple of hours from Seattle. Seattle has a team on the horizon, the Kraken, and they probably are still looking for a goalie. I wonder if Brossoit played as well as he did last night, because maybe there's a starting job for a guy that good in Seattle once the Kraken start. He was really first class last night. He had his angles, covered a lot of space. He's a big goaltender, quicker than people think. And is perfect in the backup role. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to be a starter again, but I think probably in his own mind he thinks he can be. And last night, if he was making a pitch to the Seattle Kraken to sign him, he made a pretty good pitch, because he was really terrific last night. I agree with you that the Canucks have a few problems. I think their biggest one is their only goal scorers are on that first line, and they're all on that first line. The Horvat line played pretty well, but when you had Pettersson and Besser out there, Vancouver had a lot of the play. They're two tremendous hockey players, and they should be scoring some more goals too. So when the Jets and Vancouver meet up again this weekend, we'll have an opportunity to see if they can get it together. But the Jets are a team that hasn't scored much in the last couple of games. 2 at Edmonton, lost 3-2. But the 2 that they got last night were all they needed. And again, Mark Scheifele got the goal. The big one, the winner, a tremendous move he made on Demko, who was Thatcher Demko was tremendous last night too.
Unbelievable,
So it was a great goaltending night. The Jets won. They're 10-6-1, and are the third best team in the league.
Could you see maybe that they're missing Liney?
Sure, yeah.
Do you know who they're missing?
Dubois too. They're missing Dubois.
You know, absolutely. What is Dubois watch? Where is he? What's going on?
Well, he's got an upper body injury. An upper lower middle body injury. Heaven knows.
So what part is that?
So yeah, whatever. He's on the injured reserve.
Hey, we've got to get cracking, because we've got Paul Rosen.
Yes, you got Paul coming up.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
Oh, David Keon.
Yeah, I wanted to, before you go into that, I wanted to say this statement. That is Dave Keon looking over at the coach saying, God, I would have not worn those jerseys last night for Carolina. Those were awful. Like why have they gone to the grays? Like, I don't get
I don't get it. Oh, the Jets one is horrid. The Jets, it's just horrid. And the Leaf one, you can't even see the numbers. That's just dreadful.
All right, listen.
It's a good thing you can't sit in the Scotiabank Center, because you couldn't see who had the puck.
Well, the one, and also the Dallas Stars, that neon green, if they turn the lights off, for Christ's sake, you can watch the game. Hey, listen, talk to us a little bit about, obviously, Nico, you were going to talk, obviously named the youngest captain in the NHL. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was surprised, because I thought my guy, Travis Zajac, who's going to play his 1,000th game this week, might have been named the captain of that team, but they've gone with Nico Hischier, 2017 number 1 draft pick. He's going to be the captain for a long time. It's another of these examples of young, high draft picks going to be captains of teams for long periods of time. It was the choice they wanted to make, and good for them in New Jersey. The other thing is Mike Babcock, before I go, apparently the new head coach of the University of Saskatchewan Huskies. He will love that job. He will love being in the West, coaching that team. But the big question is, what kind of a recruiter is he going to be? Because that's the difference between the NHL and college hockey. You got to go to some Western League games and some Junior League games and go find players, and it's going to be different than what you're used to. You don't have a general manager bringing your talent in. You got to do it yourself. It's a
Hey,
different
listen,
job.
he left Detroit at the right time when they were falling apart. Hey, listen, Paul wanted to say hello before you go.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, Paulie. Stop that puck.
Hey,
baby.
what? You talked really briefly there about an upper body, middle body, lower body injury.
Yes,
Tell
that's
you,
what Dubois has.
real quick, I hope you laugh. I thought it was funny. I was doing the game. I was broadcasting the game, Canada against Japan for the CBC, and one of the Japanese players, he's a double amp just at the hip, so he has no legs whatsoever. He goes flying into the corner. Yoshito Indo's his name. He's off the ice. He's injured. I say, hey, guys, we just got a report. It's a lower body injury.
Only you could get away with that. Only you.
Oh my God, that's bad. Didn't have a leg to stand. All right, Scotty, listen, you go. We're talking to you next week. Did I just say that?
We'll see
I
you
quit.
next week.
That's it.
No, I quit. I'm in trouble now. Bye, guys.
Hey, Scotty, love you, buddy. See you next week.
Take care, Scott.
Man, for an old guy, he's got a lot of wind in him.
Yeah, I love when lower body injury. Indo has no legs.
Yeah,
Had to
that's
be a lower
terrible.
body injury.
Yeah, no question. Hey, listen, let's talk really quickly. You've got the Rosen report coming up right after this. Obviously, it's always a Saturday. We have talking with Taylor. Really exciting. I know you've got the Rosen report tonight. Talk to us.
Yeah, Jamie Maguire. We're going to talk about the top goalies in the NHL so far, the ones that are disappointing. We're going to talk a little bit about Michael Hutchison, his prodigy, how he's feeling. 9 games sitting on the bench, and then get sent into this one. I've got Rosie's rant, obviously, like every show, and then rapid fire. We'll see how Maguire handles the hot seat at the end.
Hey, listen to Stephen, your brother's coming up. You heard us talking a little bit about what's going on with the outdoor game. Of course, some ice issues, but more importantly, through the regular season, high-scoring games in the regular season are great, but low-scoring, tight-checking games in the playoffs are better. Not so much better. That's what wins hockey games, that tight checking and obviously physicality in the game.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be 6-5 games in the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. But real quick on yesterday, really enjoyed the show yesterday. Cameron, what a great guy. So many memories last night when I was thinking about it. You know, all of a sudden he comes up to me, 15,000 in Saskatoon, the World Juniors, and he says, hey, can you do something with me? Flip your leg around? And you talk about a guy who is energetic. Wow.
Man,
unreal.
yeah, and he and I just hit it off. I really enjoy the guy. We're going to be doing some stuff for charity, of course, which is really, really great. Hey, listen, tomorrow, great show. Rain Carnegie is going to be here with Kevin Shea. We're going to be talking about, obviously, Herb Carnegie, and Kevin's going to put a spin on, obviously, Black History Month. We're going to talk about the most influential men of color that have played our great game, and women. There's a lot of women that have played the game too of color, and we're really excited about that.
Angela James, first female to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Herb Carnegie was a friend. I knew him very well. I did the Future Races event many times with him. Super nice man, and Bernice is a gem, his daughter.
Yep, and his grandson's going to be here. He had trials and tribulations through his career. Also, after the career, he's got it all back, and he's on it. If not now, then when? And it's about getting Herb into the Hockey Hall of Fame. All right, Paul, I'll let you get ready. I'll see you over there in a couple of minutes. Watch the Rosen report right after Gooch Live. All right, buddy. See you in a few minutes.
Bye.
All right. How cool is that? We got Scott Taylor. Now we got Paul Rosen. Rosie's going to get ready, set up at the studio at Paramount Sports Management. Of course, I want to thank the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. Graham Rouston doing a great job. Steve Ellis, Jason Kay, thank you for being a big supporter of ours. And listen, true to the word, take a peek at that. 2022, if we're allowed to do it, we will be doing an outdoor game in Queenstown. If not, we may have to move it to 2023, but we are going to do it. We're bringing you live ice hockey in Down Under. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for being a part of today. Really quick show tomorrow. Don't forget, Kevin Shea, Rain Carnegie, right here. We're going to talk Black History Month, and then we'll talk about Herb Carnegie, Willie O'Ree, Grant Fuhr, and a bunch of great players, both men and women, that have contributed not only into the National Hockey League, but also in amateur and professional sports. All right, guys. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
You've been listening to Gooch Live with your host, Kerry Goulet, better known as The Gooch, brought to you by the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.